All right, R3000, you still there?
Yeah.
When we last went to our break, we were kind of talking about kind of various music influences and just kind of video game style you were going for with your music. My question, I guess, would be is, at what point in your childhood do you remember first being exposed to like this kind of techno dance style music?
I think definitely around 7 or 6 years old. At that time, I still had a PlayStation, the original PlayStation, and there was some games that I played that had these like techno soundtracks. I think I remember having Ghost in the Shell, which has an amazing soundtrack. And there are some other games that have like a similar sound. I think Ridge Racer I can remember off the top of my head. And there's not much else really, I think. But after that I kind of got more into electronic music as I grew older. I was mostly into like more EDM based stuff, like the stuff they play at those huge festivals and stuff. And I kind of grew out of that, and now I'm just listening to mostly stuff like I mostly listen to 90s and 2000s sounding like techno and stuff. I know there's this like revival thing coming around, kind of.
Yeah, my first experience with really any kind of rave or techno sounding music, you probably couldn't even call it techno, but just like electronic, it had to be that classic bumper I would hear before a movie would start. You know, the anti-piracy ad with the rip-off Prodigy sounding music in the background.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was, I think, somebody said that's a rip-off of Break and Enter by the Prodigy, which I wouldn't doubt because it sounded so much like one of their tracks. But I think that was like, yeah. And it's also ironic when you think about it, because how was so many of these genres birthed but through illegal sampling?
Yeah, that's true.
I recently bought a 0G data file sample pack. You may be familiar with 0G, but they definitely have some great sample libraries I recommend. 0G came about around some point in the early 90s as sampling became more ubiquitous in terms of, people sharing samples on floppy disks and all that. It's kind of interesting because now they're very locked down in terms of copyright law, when originally those samples would have been illegal for them to sell.
I think I was talking about it with you last time with Bandcamp and how, they're writing articles on Vaporwave, right? I know they acknowledge that, they acknowledge the concepts, but, these samples aren't cleared, so I don't know how Bandcamp is dealing with copyright when it involves these genres, how they're able to, I guess get away with it. I know that's a poor way to say it, but how they're able to host these uncleared samples on their website. And I guess you can make the excuse that if someone were to buy the album, they're supporting the artist and not necessarily, buying the album, but it's just all interesting to me how Bandcamp is able to keep this on their website.
Yeah, I mean, Bandcamp has somehow flew under the radar.
Yeah, I think that just, that's in part because not many people know about the site, to be honest, It's not that popular as a streaming service.
R3000, how did you find Bandcamp and all these sites? Just kind of through friends, or?
Well, a lot of the artists I liked, I Googled around about them, so they all had well, not all of them, but some of them really just had band camps, and I just went on there. And yeah, I just made an account and decided to, I did have a band camp before in 2015, and I uploaded some very experimental stuff, basically very far from my current sound. So yeah, it's not really something I'm proud of, but yeah.
Where do you think you see your sound or style heading in the future?
Well, in the future, I definitely want it to become more layered, more complex, I guess, in a way. I definitely want to extend my sound library, add more of a depth to my stuff.
Right.
So yeah, basically, I just want it to be more out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And of course, as you get more out there, like you said, you got to be careful, because especially on YouTube and these sites, they're really going to come after you if they find some even remotely recognizable sample.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. It's pretty messed up when you think about it, actually, because, for instance, like Vaporwave, a lot of it is, a lot of it is sampled, and it kind of sucks how they just copyright strike you, and that's that.
And I think it's fair to acknowledge that, yes, there are some low-effort vaporwave acts out there.
Definitely, this dynamic crowd. Basically, I started. I think I first heard it early last year, and something about the sound, it just sounded kind of like a menacing version of vaporwave in a way. I heard, at least.
Well, I think that is really the key to good vaporwave music, when it has something about it that sticks out to you, maybe even touches on some nostalgia. Obviously grew up in a country that in Eastern Europe, you see a lot of this kind of post-Soviet aesthetic, and I think it must be interesting from your perspective to see some of this music and how it resonates with you.
Well, basically, I think a lot of my music, or at least I tend to, when I go outside, I tend to, listen to music on my phone. Just put on headphones, and walking through, depending on the music I'm listening to, can feel really magical. And there's definitely some sort of influence to my music taste as well, because just the environment I grew up in, the stuff I listened to when I was younger, and most of it I can't even remember at this point, but subconscious influence, if you know what I mean.
Active any subreddits or post your music on there? If you largely stayed off of that?
Well, at one point, I posted it a few times on 4chan, on Moo, the music board, and as for Reddit, I did post my music on there once, but didn't really get much, many plays, but I think, I don't really like Reddit, to be honest. Personally, I don't like the upload-download system. It can be really,
manipulative.
Yeah.
I'll say it is nice when you find a smaller subreddit, but so many of the subreddits are locked down in terms of, and you probably encountered this, Kwaku is very familiar. put this on our vaporwave, but you try and post something and it immediately gets taken down for having the wrong tag or, some arbitrary classifier. And by the time you finally get it up there, you probably missed your chance for somebody to clear it.
Yeah, that was a real problem, I think, earlier in the subreddit. Probably like a year and a half ago, there was a whole argument with that in our vaporwave.
I mean, your activity is kind of tied in with how much attention you get, because the more active and regularly posting stuff, assuming you get like a close following, then that can really boost you up, but it takes time.
Yeah, definitely.
I found R3000 through the James Ferraro chat that was started, and I'm curious, like, how does James' music influence your style of music, and what, like, albums of James do you really think have had a lasting impact on you?
Well, about a year ago, I think, my friend asked him about music that was similar to Death Grips, which is another band that I'm really into.
Okay.
And he recommended me some of the James Ferraro stuff. So I basically, I think one of the albums I can remember right now is Soaky Girls, and definitely that one left the most effect on me.
Is there any artist you would say, like George Clan, James Ferraro, is there any artist that you would really love to collaborate with?
Well, I'm not exactly sure because obviously I don't think maybe my workflow would resonate with them, so it's kind of difficult to kind of think about, but I think some rappers, I guess, I'm definitely interested in rap.
Yeah.
Mainly, I think Playboi Carti is my favorite right now.
Okay.
Heard of him?
Yeah.
I've heard of him a little bit, yeah. How did you get into, like, the whole rap thing?
Well, when I was really young, I played a lot of GTA, so and my brother used to listen to a lot of hip-hop as well, so he showed me some songs. And that's basically how I got into it, and I just, I'm always like...
Like Uzi? Little Uzi Vert?
Little Uzi Vert. Oh, yeah. I've heard a couple of his songs. I can't really remember the names off the top of my head, but he's actually pretty good. I haven't listened to any of his mixtapes, though, like in full.
Remember that one track that was on that one underground hip-hop channel? The track is called, it's by this group called Genetically Superior, and they're this inner-city Chicago group from the early 90s, and they were making some experimental music, and this one track is called Deletion of Souls, and it had some comparable, Death Grips vibes. Not much is known about the group. The guy who runs the underground hip-hop channel, he has their cassette tape, and I just think it's very interesting, this world of lesser-known music, Yeah,
I think someone linked it before. I really liked it.
It came out in, like, early 90s, so, like, I don't know, maybe 1993. I could be wrong, but...
Yeah.
Like, the fact that style was already in existence. I mean, obviously, Death Grips didn't steal it, because how could they? But just interesting how somebody living in a completely different area, completely different time, came to the similar sound. Because, you know, I've heard a lot on, like, and I'm sure if you've ever browsed, you know, like Death Grip's fan site, forum, group, you've probably seen people posting, oh, here's a song that sounds like a Death Grip song. But, like, this actually sounds like a Death Grip song, which is...
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Memphis rap has this, like, lo-fi, really distorted sound to it. I'm a big fan of Memphis rap as well. Definitely Tommy Wright has made an influence on my music as well. And I think, you know, Eazy-E as well. Well, he's not Memphis rap, but so I'd like to mention him as well. He's also a big influence.
So, R3000, is there like any album in the works, anything coming down the pipeline in the next few months, or are you just kind of chilling out right now? What's the deal?
Well, right now I'm pretty much taking a break, but I think at one point I'm going to release a new EP. It's going to be, I think, 4 or 5 songs. I'm just going to put it on SoundCloud.
Nice. Well, definitely keep a lookout for that. Do you have like you work like a part-time job, or are you in education right now?
No, I'm just in education right now, but I'm still in high school, so.
Okay. Yeah, that's the same for Kwaku.
Yep. Are you in your last year?
No, I'm in my second year.
Whoa.
Yeah, you're starting off, you know, young, and so by the time you get out of high school, you know, you'll really have, I think, a decent music catalog built up.
Yeah, I suppose so. I had another SoundCloud besides this Cingular Records one, and I just kind of deleted it all of a sudden because I didn't like the sound anymore. I think it was for the best in general, so. And, you know, I kind of got into this whole Cingular aesthetic like a year ago when I was discussing mobile networks with my friend. Like, we were just talking about random stuff, and that kind of came up. And we just kind of make, like, you know, we kind of just make, like, jokes about it. And, yeah, from there, we just kind of made it into a bigger thing. We originally intended to actually have some sort of, like, radio. There would be, like, music playing 24/7 on YouTube, like those live streams that are constantly. And apart from that, I also made a Cingular shirt in high school, and I think that was pretty cool as well. I think they were just a US thing, but I kind of found out about them. The game I used to play, and it just had like Cingular adverts everywhere. So
I actually remember, and I don't know if you guys had Cingulars out there at Kwaku, but here in California, where I live, there was actually a Cingular store, and they had a giant like blow-up Cingular guy on top of the building. So every time you drove by, you saw the big orange Cingular blob, dude. And then this like ATT bottom out, and that like, well, you know, it's interesting now going on YouTube, finding that media. It's all low res and very distorted. Generation loss. Yeah. Kwaku was actually talking about this with me.
Oh yeah, generation loss. What was the? It was Blackstreet Tonight.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting. And then you have the other music video that was uploaded on YouTube. Mista, the song by them called Blackberry Molasses. But yeah, the whole concept of generation loss is very It's very unique. I like thinking about it. I guess you can tie it into some type of dystopian narrative, but also, deep fried memes. That's pretty. When you keep reposting the same thing over and over again, and people throw filters on it and they add their own interpretation, and eventually you get this oversaturated. I guess you can call it a piece of shit, but you get this oversaturated thing, and it has quite the past. And yeah.
Yeah, I like the whole destruction aesthetic.
Yeah.
And it's almost fossilized in a way.
You say destruction, and it's kind of like, it's kind of paradoxical, because here you have people trying to build something up, but it's also, destroying it at the same time. So I like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, in a way, you can sort of say that about vaporwave too, because the music kind of destroys the original intent, but simultaneously creates a new interpretation off of it.
Yeah, and what better track than, Floral Shop? Yeah, you have like lyrics that aren't really in the actual track. And speaking of Floral Shop, the lyrics themselves, they've been sampled over and over again. I think you remember this when we were going on that whole hunt on the internet for the origin of Floral Shop. Because it's another group, America, and then they had a song called It's Your Move. And apparently there's another group from there that made the original song. But, there isn't that much information on them.
I had kind of a similar experience when I went through YouTube, and I don't know about you, R3000, but I love looking up old, 2000s media, and I came across this ad for one of the first electric cars made by GM. And in this advertisement, there was this music, but I couldn't seem to figure out what it was because it didn't have any lyrics. So I pulled out Shazam, and sure enough, this was basically like Muzak that they were playing in the background. It was like corporate rave-style Muzak, and it led me down the full rabbit hole of similar tracks on, I think it was at that time, it was on the Apple Play or Apple Music Store, iTunes, whatever they call it now. Interestingly enough, though, a week after I searched that up on Apple, then it became public on Google, and then all of a sudden YouTube popped up with the tracks. And so it was kind of interesting, I know that you probably had experiences searching for an obscure track and just not finding anything. But I searched for it, didn't find it, and a week later it appears on YouTube. I guess the YouTube gods were listening to me or something, because
Algorithm god.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine that the algorithms are very complex. There's so many factors involved, and it's kind of scary when you think about it.
Oh yeah, I think the algorithm, the whole concept of it, it's very strange, because I got involved with this online group on Instagram, seemingly by accident. I say seemingly. You'll find out why. And, there were some pretty popular people with hundreds of thousands of followers. And I created a meme of myself. I play this character, Goey, And it's odd because after I started interacting with them, I found out that they know some of my in real life friends. One of the girls in the group, she actually knows one of my in real life friends. So I found that to be very strange. And then one of the other people that are in the group, he's a SoundCloud rapper, and he posts a screenshot on his story oh, this dude just sent me money, thanks. And that's another guy that I know in real life. So it's very strange how, these people or people that know another person that we happen to know, we're all bunched up, seemingly by coincidence. But I think online there's an invisible hand of sorts that, is the algorithm that really pushes us to interact with certain groups of people.
Yeah, that's quite fascinating. I've never seen anything quite like that happen to me, but I've known like a few people who, like, if you go down their friends list, you could probably find somebody in common with them. It's really wild.
Yeah.
Just the whole algorithm, the kind of, you don't really know how much of it's being done by an AI or how much of it is actually some physical person out there sorting this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so you said that you have a YouTube channel, but you don't really use it that much. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, most of the videos I have in mind, videos that I've made in the past, basically it's based on, GIFs that I've also made. It's mostly just like repeating GIFs. It's not serious editing. And I don't know if you've heard of Amnesia Scanner before.
What's that?
Amnesia Scanner.
Amnesia Scanner.
Yeah.
Is that a horror game?
No. It's an artist that was releasing that released an album last year, and a lot of their videos have this like destruction aesthetic as well. Like,
yes, I've definitely actually somebody I know in real life almost a year ago. He sent me this very video you're talking about. Yeah,
it's
I'm
really
familiar
cool.
with this.
I mean, I've looked at their like websites and their social media. They like incorporate like like these memes and like they kind of destroy them. Like basically what I've looked at their website, and apparently it pulls like random like posts from 4chan. I thought it was really cool. Like it's supposed to be some sort of pseudo forum or something, and I think that really left an impression on me because it reminded me of my old website as well.
When did you create your website?
Well, the first website I made was like 2016. It was called Scent.us, and basically it was I was trying to like combine random text of conspiracy stuff, so people's search results, and people would go on and like find ties to certain stuff. And
okay.
Yeah, they just go deep down this rabbit hole of, well, nothing basically. There was always also some kind of like art as well to it, so I had a fun time making it at least.
Yeah, that's really awesome. It's called synth.us.archives.yzzyx.network.
It's the archive that my friend has put up.
Okay, so for anybody that wants to check it out, it's pretty cool. I'm always interested in, I guess maybe now the interest has kind of peaked, but the like really shitty GeoCities website that you go on, it's horribly broken, but surprisingly, most of them I haven't gotten viruses from. But they're like perfectly preserved artifacts from the early 90s, and I find those sites really amazing because you get some interesting characters on there. 2008, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Is there anything that you would like to plug at this time, or?
Yeah, definitely. I want to shout out my friend Flesh. He helped me make the cover art for my newest album. Appreciate it.
Yeah, shout out to Flesh. We'll leave a link to some of his media in the comments. But yeah, so I'm going to wrap things up. This has been WorldMovers podcast with your host, DJ Angelfire. and Kwaku Amp.
Yep.
And we'll see you next time.